All right, so we are going to be doing pen shading. I have this extra sheet of paper that some marker bled through on, so I'm just going to go ahead and tear it out. And we're going to use this because I do not want to waste any paper, okay? I'm just going to yank it out here. Alrighty. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so not everybody has a pencil. So look around, see if you have a pen, right? Over the summer, I wanted to do some art projects and I definitely did not have a pencil, and I had to order some and then wait for them to get to my house, but I did have pens. Luckily for me, when I was in high school, my mom was my art teacher and she had this cool project where you draw a self-portrait and then you shade it in pen. So we're going to practice some pen shading today. There's a lot of different types, and you can actually, I can't talk, but you can actually do these with a pencil as well, okay? So let's just get this written out here. Let's finish up. Pen shading. I'm having to record over my audio, so I don't know why my microphone's weird sometimes. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and grab this demo that I did of someone I found on the internet. This is something I taught my 7th graders last year. So just found this random girl here in a high contrast portrait, and I gridded it and then I drew it out for their project so they could see what they were going to do. But as you can see, you can get a wide range of values. Remember, that's lightness and darkness, right? And you can do that with pen. So let's look at this. So I have darker values. You can see where I shaded with the pen. I got lighter values right there above the eye. And then there's my pen down there. I don't know why I make that noise a lot. I'm sorry. I think it's because y'all aren't here, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure I would still do it if y'all were here. But anyway, so I did this pen portrait, and again, I know it looks kind of like scary because we're all at different skill levels, but remember, I've been doing this for a really long time because my mom was an art teacher, so I've had a lot of practice. So y'all just gotta practice. If that's your goal, if you want to be able to draw like that and you're not there already, just practice, 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 practice. I'll have to go look through my stuff when I get home. Maybe I'll make a video of my old art so that we can laugh at it, and I'll show it side by side with some of my new art. So our first pen shading technique is hatching. So you can actually do that with a pencil too. That's what I did on the caricatures of Snape and Harry Potter. So if you want to try it in pencil later on, you can. If you have a pencil and you're watching this just because, go ahead and try it with your pencil as well. But hatching, you have all of your lines going in the same direction, okay? You can apply more pressure or less pressure in order to make your pen, I almost said pencil, your pen look lighter. So see, this is me pushing hard, and then this is me pushing lightly. You can see the difference there. One definitely looks darker. So I'm going to apply a lot of pressure at first, and I put my lines closer together, and then as I want to lighten it up, I move my marks further away. So as you can see, I'm spacing my lines out more, further apart from each other. My lines are social distancing. Look at them. They're so good. Good little lines. All right. So if you think about it, the reason it looks lighter, even though it's just with a pen, you have more paper showing in between the lines. Your paper's white, so it's just going to make sense that it looks lighter, okay? So try to think about it like that, and maybe it'll kind of help you wrap your mind around it if you're a little wigged out right now. So now I'm going to do another one underneath it. I can't remember if I do this one faster or not, because again, I'm having to voice over. And yes, I just recorded it, but yeah, I can't remember why I did 2. Did I do 2 on all of them? I did 2 on 2 of them. Okay. So hatching is the one I am not best at. It is not one that I practiced a lot, so that's probably why I did 2. As you can see, my values jump from like dark to light. It's not my best. That is a good thing for you to do though. Practice all the different kinds I show you today, and then you can see which one you're best at. So hatching is in the word cross hatching, right? which means you're going to have all your lines going in the same direction again. But since we got that cross circled, you go back over it, cross over it, right, in the opposite direction. And there you got your value scale with cross hatching. So this is what not to do with cross hatching. A lot of people do a bunch of little X's. I'm not sure why. If you understand why, please explain it to me, because I would like to know, and I've never actually asked a student why they do that. So if you know, let me know. Another thing you can do is write a word over and over and over again. So I just wrote no a bunch of times right there. And then once I want to start lightening up my values, I space the word out more. You could do this with your name and it would look super cool, like a portrait of yourself by writing your name over and over again would be awesome. As you can see, it gets dark and then lightens up. Another mistake I see with cross-hatching though is people will do tally marks. That's no. No. You want to cross over it like that. And then that's a yes, okay? So I'm gonna go back over here, do another cross-hatch value scale. So remember, it is just like hatching to start, okay? Just like hatching to start. You'll have them all facing the same direction, and then you cross over them in the opposite direction and go all the way through. So here we are, making another one. So with this, one of the things I think is cool is you can just go back in and add more lines. Like let's say I get through this one and I want to make it darker in one area. I just go back in this little area and add a couple more lines. Okay. So I'm going to go back through. See? And it already is starting to look a little bit darker. So I'm filling in more space. Let me speed this up a little bit for you. Okay, so scumbling or random mark is our next one. Pretty sure I spelled scumbling wrong. Again, I'm not the best speller, but it's my favorite because you kind of just go loosey-goosey all over the place. Like you're scribbling on your page and you're 5 years old again. You don't really need to think about laying down marks the way you do with hatching and cross-hatching, although you could do a faster cross-hatch that looks a lot looser than the one that I did above. But scumbling and random mark, my favorite. So I just kind of go through, make it dark. When you want it lighter, again, one thing I like to do is hold it at the tip of the pencil instead, like I'm doing right here. And it gets really loose and I'm not able to apply as much pressure. And so it gets light very quickly. And I personally think it looks awesome and it's very nice. But that's my opinion. Not sure what yours is on this one or if it's your best to do. For me, I think I'm the best at that texture when I'm shading with pen, so that's usually my go-to. With pencil, I do a really fast cross-hatch typically if I'm using this kind of technique instead of smoothing it and blending it. So stippling is our next one, and it is a pain in the tush. I will tell you that. It takes forever. I sped this up, and that is still taking forever to get that much. So yeah, it's kind of sad. If you want to fill up a lot of your time, I highly recommend stippling. We did actually have a project that I like to do that's pop art and you stipple, but it's with markers. So it doesn't take as long as it would have with a pen. And it looks really cool when it's done. You just do the same thing with a line as you do with the stippling. You just kind of space your dots out more if you want your value to look lighter, and you put them closer together if you want it to look darker. Again, remember your value is lightness and darkness, okay? So when you're shading lightly, shading darkly, everything in between is your values. So that's kind of how it looks. So one thing that happens when you're stippling is kind of muscle memory. Even if you're trying to spread things out, like I'm trying to do right here, you kind of end up hitting the same places over and over and over again. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Da 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 da. There you go. Okay. So you can see where it's more concentrated right there, even though I was trying to go all around that circle, because my hand just wants to go back to the same area over and over again, because muscle memory. Okay, so you got to purposefully come and fill in the rest of those areas like I just did if you choose stippling and you start having that problem. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a value scale on the bottom here. I've already done this for people using a pencil. So right here, this joint to the tip of my finger is 1 inch on my hand about. On y'all, it might be this knuckle to this knuckle, because y'all's hands are going to be smaller than mine. I'm like 6 feet tall, so I got some big old hands. But all right, so I got to make 9 boxes. So I'm just going to start making my little boxes here. I don't have a ruler, so this is what I'm using instead. And that's okay. I don't need this to be exactly 1 inch, so if it's a little off, it's fine. You cannot do this when you grid, though. That would be bad. And if you know what gridding is, then you know why. If you don't, then hopefully we get to teach you this year about it. That would be awesome. It's one of my favorite things. So I feel like everyone can draw awesome with gridding. All right, so now I'm going to go up top. La-di-da-di-da. Coming along here. I don't have a ruler, so I'm using this deck of cards as my straight edge. I'm sectioning everything off so that I can shade in here just like I did with my pencil in another video, but now you can do it with pen. All right, so I'm going to speed it up even more and kind of talk about it as we go, but I'm going to go ahead and clip it right here. All right, so I got them all numbered, and I'm going to shade 9 darkest, and 1's going to be the lightest. So this was my first mistake. I like to start dark and go lighter, and it just works better for me. Honestly, you should always start lightest and then go on top of it. But if you mess up like I just did and you make something too dark and you realize that, just go underneath it and go ahead and fix it, and then you can turn in that for us. But just go ahead. So I'm doing my 9 here, scribbling in, making it my darkest value. And then each one is going to get lighter and lighter. So I'm going to go to 8 now. I want 8 to be a little bit lighter than 9. Fill it in a little better. And then 7's going to be a little bit lighter than 8, which I kind of made those a little bit close. Then 6 is going to be lighter than 7. 5 is lighter than 6. 4 is lighter than 5. And then 3 is lighter than 4, but darker than 2. So remember, I messed up my 2, so I scribbled underneath it. And looking at these, there's some that I'm probably not going to be able to fix. 5 I can fix. I just need to make it a little lighter, which means I also need to make my 4 a little lighter. I think my 3 looks okay. On the camera, though, as I'm looking at it now after drawing it, it definitely kind of looks the same shade. I promise you on my paper it doesn't. It's just kind of what the camera does sometimes, because the document camera doesn't work the same as a phone. So if you mess up, just put that little box underneath yours. Do not stress about it. It's okay. All right. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy pen shading. Practice, guys. Practice.